بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجه الكريم. So we reached up to the section of أسباب التيمم. Inshallah, that is on page 14.
Correct.
So we're on page 14, inshallah, which relates to dry ablution. Its causes. Bismillah. Let us begin with Al-Fatiha to the soul of the author. Al-Fatiha.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. The author, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him, said, Dry ablution. Causes. The causes of dry ablution, tayammum, are three. Number 1, lack of water. Number 2, sickness. And number 3, needing it to slake the thirst of an honorable living being.
I want to keep a case at tayammum, as we mentioned before, but this needs to stay in our mind. It is a dispensation when one is unable to use water. At tayammum, dry purification, does not lift the state of ritual impurity. So if one makes a tayammum, one has made it permissible to do certain acts while remaining in the state of minor or major ritual impurity. To the extent that whenever water is available or can be used, one must lift the state of ritual impurity. Is this point clear? So you should look at a tayammum as a rukhsa when one cannot use water. Now,
Dishonorable living beings are 6. Number 1,
and this
those who
is reaching up to the point where we left off in our last lesson on Safinat al-Najat.
Number 1, those who have abandoned prayer. Number 2, fornicators with the means to remain chaste. Number 3, apostates. Number 4, disbelievers at war with Islam.
So all of these human beings are at a state in their activity where they've become unrespectable. And really, one of the things that we should keep in mind and this was my Jumu'ah speech yesterday, that we have to look at what is human excellence. And human excellence for us is in the person of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And what he said, what he did, his characteristics and his states. So all of these things, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam defined to us as a low level of humanity. No, you don't have to make up the prayers that are made with a tayammum. So in every one of these, we should avoid being in that state, and we should consider it a lowly state. The one who does not pray without an excuse, the fornicator, the apostate, and the disbelieving person, the kafir, who fights Muslims. All of those are lowly stations as human beings, to the point that it's not permissible to give them water that one would need for even thirst. And despite having a little water, you would have to use that little water even to fulfill the obligations, and you cannot perform a tayammum because they're not worthy of water. For me, that is something that, like, if we really think about it, it tells us the severity of the state. If that's the rule in the Sharia for that, what about the punishment for that in the hereafter? Like, and three of these things, the first three are prominent in our society. People who don't pray without an excuse, fornicators and adulterers, and apostates. They're abundant in our time. Now, go ahead.
Number 5, vicious dogs. And number 6, pigs.
Mm-hmm. So,
Conditions.
in other words, if you look at that, those people have fall into the rank of animals, subhanallah, in their states. Now, go ahead.
Conditions. The
Shurut are those things that must be fulfilled before the act can begin in a valid manner. So we're talking about the shurut of a tayammum, the conditions before tayammum can become legally valid. So we talked about al-shurut wal-arkan, or al-furud. The shurut are those things which must begin before the act starts. The arkan are a part of the act that must be maintained. As for these rulings, they relate to at-tayammum. At-tayammum. Go ahead.
The conditions for dry ablution are 10. The prerequisites for dry ablution are 10. Number 1, it is performed with soil. Number 2,
Pure soil. Mhm.
number 2 through 4, the soil must be pure, unused, and not mixed with flour or the like.
So you cannot make tayammum from one person and use the same soil that came off that limbs or the same location for another tayammum. So that's used. So once you use the soil, you have to go to another location. You cannot use the same location or the dust that falls off the limbs of someone.
Number 5, its use is deliberate. Number 6, one wipes.
Meaning, when one transfer the soil, one must intend to use it for a tayammum.
Number 6, one wipes his hands and face using 2 strikes. Number 7, one removes filth beforehand.
One strike for the face and one for the hands up to and including the elbows.
Number 7, one removes filth beforehand.
Here, so if one has najasa on one's body, it must be removed prior to a tayammum.
Number 8, one's strive to determine the direction of prayer.
Of course, that is that najis that is unexcused. As for some blood, maybe from one's wound, this is excused.
Number 8, one strives to determine the direction of prayer beforehand. Number 9,
one tries to determine properly the direction of the Qibla.
Number 9, its performance occurs at the prayer time has entered.
There is an indication here from that a tayammum cannot be performed before the time of the prayer enters. So normally, and this is something we should pay attention to, when we make ablution, we should do it before the time of the prayer comes in, so that when the time comes in, we are ready to pray. We should not delay it. As for a tayammum, because it's a dispensation, you have to do it after the time of the prayer enters. So in general, the believer should always be in the state of purification. And it is a protection for you in all of your matters.
Number 10, one performs dry ablution for each obligation.
As for the optional prayers and optional things, one can do as many of those as one likes with one tayammum. But for the obligatory prayer, one must perform a tayammum for every prayer. Go ahead.
Obligatory actions.
So we talked about the shurut, which is those 10. Then you have at-tayammum has furud, obligations or arkan, which are part of the act that must be fulfilled for the act to remain valid. Please, whenever we're doing the rules, keep in mind something is 3 things you want to keep in mind. What are the conditions? What are the obligations or the integrals? And what are the invalidators? At minimum, you must know that for every act of worship. Then beyond that are the optional deeds. And all of those things, fulfilling the conditions and the integrals and avoiding the invalidators, are obligatory. So the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, my servant will not draw closer to me with anything more beloved than the obligations, that which I made obligatory upon him. Then he continues to draw close in status by the optional deeds. So everything that is obligatory. And what is obligatory? The conditions, the obligations, integrals, and avoiding the invalidators. For every act of worship, you need to know that. Whenever you go into an act of worship, the first thing you need to concern yourselves with. What are the conditions that need to be fulfilled? What are the integrals or the obligations that need to be fulfilled? And what are the invalidators that I need to avoid? This is very important. So before you learn everything else, make sure you know them. Now,
The obligatory actions of dry ablution are 5. The first is transferring the soil. The second is the intention. The third is wiping the
and
face.
here the intention is to make prayer or carrying the mushaf or making a tawaf permissible. When you make a tayammum, right, you're making the intention not to lift the state of ritual impurity. If you do that, it's not valid. You need to make the intention to make the obligatory prayer, for instance, permissible.
The third is wiping the face. The fourth is wiping the arms up to and including the elbows. The fifth is the order between the wipes.
Right. So to do them in order. Here is a point that I want to mention to you. Sometimes you see wiping the hands. What is meant from the hands up to the including the elbows. So last, the mubtilat. Go ahead.
Invalidators. The invalidators of dry ablution are 4. Number 1, whatever invalidates ablution.
Oh, 4 should be 3.
The invalidators of dry ablution are, it was a typo, 3.
It was a typo there.
The word is 4 in the English.
No, it should be 3. 3, not 4.
The invalidators of dry ablution are 3. Number 1, whatever invalidates ablution. Number 2, apostasy. And number 3, imagining having access to water if one's dry ablution was performed for its lack.
So we'll stop there. So everyone correct that. Mubtilatu tayammumi thalatha. Those things that invalidate a tayammum are 3. Whatever invalidates wudu. So those 4 things that invalidate al-wudu invalidate a tayammum. Apostasy. Notice this is mentioned. Subhanallah. I don't want to go on a long discussion about this. But we live in a time where apostasy is abundant, and we act like it's not a part of the religion sometimes in our judgments. Just as we want someone to enter Islam by the Shahada, we want someone to remain in Islam by avoiding apostasy. Apostasy occurs 3 ways: by statements of the tongue, beliefs in the heart, and actions with the body. A ridda is of 3 types. And a ridda is going from the state of Islam to the state of al-kufr, disbelief. I want you to know two cases quickly. We should not rush to make a takfir, to consider a Muslim a disbeliever. At the same time, we should not consider al-kufr Islam. Let me repeat that 2 more times. As Muslims, we should not rush to make a takfir on another Muslim, to consider another Muslim a disbeliever. At the same time, we should not consider kufr Islam. One more time. As Muslims, we should not rush to make a takfir, consider as a disbeliever another Muslim. And at the same time, we should not consider al-kufr Islam. And this is a fine line. There are those who rush to judge another Muslim as a kafir. It's an ugly behavior. And some people, they were taught that's what to do. In fact, the foundational thing for them is everyone who's a kafir except who's in my group. And they make what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made wide, narrow. So they look to consider another Muslim as a kafir. That's what they're looking for. That's an extreme. We shouldn't go to that extreme. And because of that extreme, they will consider kufr what is not kufr. They will consider disbelief something that is really not disbelief. That's an extreme. We don't go to that extreme. Then there is another extreme that we cannot go to either. Some things is obviously kufr, and we say, no, that person is still a Muslim. That's an extreme that is too far. On the other scale, so for us, Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah, we need to be a balanced people where we don't rush. We really look for all the ways to keep people into Islam when it is possible. So we're looking for excuses. We're looking for interpretations, possibilities other than what it appears. If it is available, that's what we do. However, if it is necessarily known to be of the religion, there is scholarly consensus, it is mutawatir, the issue, then that's kufr, and we cannot go around it. And the one who believes it is a kafir, period. Right? So, and this takes study. This is not something you rush into. So my general suggestion to this issue should be left to scholars, not to common people. Common people should not enter it in terms of judging others. They should know it well as for protecting themselves. So common people, when it comes to these issues, leave that to the scholars. For others, for yourself, be very keen on observing these issues for yourself. So be hard on yourself when it comes to this. Watchful, mindful, careful. For others, don't play judge. Don't play judge. Unless it is clearly, obviously, no disagreement that this is kufr. I'm talking about disbelief. specifically. I'm not talking about other matters. When I say don't judge others, I don't mean in general, don't censor people, don't advise people. I don't mean that. I'm talking about calling someone a kafir. That's the difference. Saying you are a disbeliever. That's a different story. Is this point clear? Is it clear? Everyone understands me? I need to make sure it's clear because I don't want to say something I didn't say. I want it to be clear what I said. Really what happens, and I say this issue because we have this issue. Some people consider you a kafir because you're not in their group. And they'll use other things to try to do it. The real reason you kafir because you're not in my group. They're not going to say that. They're going to use means just, they're not going to give you the benefit of that. You're not in my group, kafir. They won't say that. They'll say, oh, you said this, and this means that, which means that, which means that. It means you're kafir. You did this, which means this, and you did this, kafir. You said this word, and this word means only this to me, and this word means this, so you meant this, kafir. It's silly, but it's real. It happens. So that's what I'm talking about. But there is kufr now. Don't get me wrong. I don't go to the other extent to say, once you're a Muslim, you can't commit disbelief. I didn't say that. No, there are some things that is kufr. And if you do it, you are a kafir, for sure. By a consensus. It's not something that is the persons who says, for instance, it's lawful to commit fornication and adultery is a kafir. The one who says that's permissible is a kafir. The one who say it's permissible to not to leave off prayer without excuse is a kafir. The one who says without an excuse is valid not to fast is a kafir. You understand my point? This is explicit stuff. The one who attributes to Allah explicitly resembling his creation is a kafir. I'm not talking about we saying he said this and this means this, so he means this, so he's a kafir. No. I said the one who explicitly resembles Allah to his creation is a kafir. That's different. He says Allah is like his creation. He's kafir. No doubt about it. Not he said this, and what he meant by this is this, so therefore it only can be this, and he is a disbeliever. I'm not talking about that. He may be an innovator. He may be incorrect. That doesn't reach the level of kufr, if you understand what I mean. The one who commits fornication is a sinner, so long as they know it's unlawful. They're not a kafir. It's not a disbeliever. Committing a sin is unlawful unless one commits it while believing it to be lawful and it is something necessarily known to be of the religion, then that is disbelief. That's kufr. It's two different things. Are we clear on this issue? While I'm at it, I have to mention this because I have to protect this group while educating you. So this is going to be controversial, what I'm going to say. And I believe we got to stop being bullied. We have to stop being bullied as a people. As a people, we have to stop letting people bully us. Imam Amin, how you going to say this? It's hard. Did y'all understand what I mean? As a people, we got to stop letting people bully us. I'm talking to us specifically as African Americans, and in general, others who fall into being bullied religiously. Listen, this religion don't belong to anyone. This religion does not belong to anyone. No group, none owns the rights to Islam. Did y'all understand that? No group, no organization, I don't care who they are, own the rights to Islam. Is that clear? Islam is the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not people. They don't own the deen. So in other words, some groups on both ends of the scale, I'm talking broad now. I'm talking broad. When you join groups, this is across the board. You will find in almost every group the idea that the deen is ours and you have to do it our way. And you have to understand from our teachers and our path. And that can go to an extreme. That can go to an extreme. So you would find in each group, they have their own party line. Their own party line. It is their party line. And the way they push that party line on every side, it's as if whoever doesn't carry this party line is misguided, inferior, or even blasphemous. And this is something we have to watch. So you would find everyone calling to their group and having enmity to other groups. And I'm not just talking about different sects within Islam. I'm talking about people who all say I'm Sunni. We all Sunni. Ash'ari, Maturidi, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, Sufi. I'm talking that. I'm not talking about the others. I'm not talking about non-Sunnis. That's obvious. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about within Ahl Sunnah, you have this problem. Because I want to say to you this. Let me say it another way. It's sufficient to be Ahl Sunnah, to be a Sunni Muslim, following Ash'ari or Maturidi creed, following one of the four schools of thought, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, and following the path of Tasawwuf. That's sufficient. Today, it's even more. You got to be in my group within Ahl Sunnah. I'm talking about this aspect. Within, you are Ahl Sunnah, but you're not in my group. So therefore, you are misguided in practice. That's not acceptable. Ahl Sunnah is a broad, wide methodology. And we should have access to that wide, broad methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Is this clear to me? So every group is a part of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Ahl Sunnah is not honored to be in your organization. You're honored to be Ahl Sunnah. Does everyone understand what I mean by that? Is this clear? I suggest if you ever find someone pushing that type of narrative on you, flee as fast as you can. I'm talking about from the organization. I'm not talking about from Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. You'll find a group of Ahl Sunnah. I'm not talking about people that's outside of Ahl Sunnah. Don't misunderstand me. I'm talking about Sunnis. They are Ahl Sunnah. Get away from them. If you're talking about non-Sunnis, then they should warn against something, right? But I'm talking about, no, they're Ahl Sunnah. But I want you to be in my group. Get away from them. Flee fast and just stick with Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. It's wide enough. You will find someone else. There are many scholars and organizations that don't do that, right? So here on this platform, now I'm going to move. Is this point clear? Is this point clear? Yes, no? If you commit kufr, you have to take your shahada over, Najia. And make sure you know you committed kufr. Don't guess. So you should ask the issue, is it disbelief truly? Because sometimes you may think something is kufr and it's not. And you shouldn't take your shahada over because that will put you into kufr. Because you're not supposed to doubt your Islam. Right? So if you believed or you thought something was kufr, you should ask. And then someone would tell you, yes, who knows? This is disbelief, and take your shahada over. A knowledgeable person, preferably a scholarly person, or just ask, and they should ask a scholar. But don't just take your shahada over because you did a sin, and doing the sin is not kufr. So long as you don't do if the sin you didn't believe it was lawful, that's sinful. You need to make tawbah, repentance, not take your shahada. Okay. I'm going somewhere with this. So yes, I am getting there. I'm just taking my time. Yes, if you took your shahada under York, you didn't have a shahada. You committed kufr. So definitely you should utter Shahada again while removing those beliefs. Because if you still have those beliefs that are kufr, like the black man is God, like anthropomorphic things, like God had a hand, this is kufr, right? And in his books were explicit kufr. You must take your Shahada over. So if you got rid of those beliefs and you didn't utter Shahada, that's not sufficient. You must utter the Shahada again. You don't need a bunch of witnesses. Utter the Shahada. That's it. Clear. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because you have to utter the Shahada, because that's kufr. That's not Islam. Likewise is the one who believed that those things from the nation of Islam, and they just stopped believing without taking Shahada. That's not valid. They have to take the Shahada over. Excuse me. Where's my glasses? Allah. They have to take the Shahada over. Do y'all understand that? It's very important because you would not be a Muslim. The only way to become a Muslim is by uttering the testification of faith. So if you had a kufr belief, you must remove that kufr, then utter the Shahada and move on. You cannot just say, I don't believe that no more. You're not a Muslim. I don't have a Zoom link. This is not Zoom. And if someone is sending you a Zoom link, I have nothing to do with it. Is that clear? When you're not a Muslim, the only way to become a Muslim is by uttering the Shahada, the testification of faith, the Shahadatan. If you commit kufr, the only way to become a Muslim again is by uttering the Shahada. To say the white man is the devil, it depends what you mean by that. It could be kufr and it could not be. It depends what you mean. So it's details. And don't ask me for all those details now. It's details. There are devils among the humans. Maybe you mean that. That's not kufr. In fact, it's true. But if you say all white men are the shaitan, iblis, that's wrong. So there's details. And we don't need to go into all those details. Don't say that. Say there are devils among the humans. Why do you have to specify white people? There are devils among the human beings. They are shayateen min al-ins. They exist. Yes. Are they iblis? No. All right. Excuse me. We had a class on apostasy, and we'll do it again. We'll repeat it. But these details, there's too much. You go all day with this stuff. So don't even open that door. If it's a real case, then you ask. If it's not a real case, don't just hypotheticals. Right? No, everything you just don't put out there, Tar, you know. You have to think sometimes before you say things. And sometimes some things are just better not to say. But let me say this. On this platform, we're not controlled by anybody. Right? We're not controlled by any group. Our approach is that if it is Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah and it is correct and we received it with an unbroken chain of narration, we will convey it. Do y'all follow me? On this platform at Masjid Muhammad of Atlantic City, we don't restrict ourselves to any group. We are Ahl Sunnah. And what we convey, we received in a trustworthy manner from qualified teachers with an unbroken chain. And it reflects the belief of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. We don't belong to a group. We are independent black men. No, I'm joking. See, I gotta lighten this. So I don't care about your groups. I don't at all. I care about the truth. Even if it's from the other group that you don't like. I don't care about your group. I don't. I'm not impressed by your group or your sheikh. Sorry, I'm not. I'm speaking personally, and usually everyone that's on this platform is similar. We're not exactly the same, but we're similar in that regard. We're not controlled by group politics, by organization politics. We're not controlled by that. So we may mention, and we always do, from some organization that the other organization don't like. That doesn't bother us. Do you follow me? So we have a wide way of teaching because we're looking for our benefit. What we deem beneficial to you, right? So whenever you see something we do, I'll say it like this. That seems to be a part of any group, that's not the reality. It is just the knowledge that we're teaching. We're not interested in the group. Does that make sense? Is that sufficient for you? Anytime you see us doing something that seems to be from a specific group, we're just taking the knowledge. We're not talking about the group. Is that clear? Is that good enough for you as a clarification of what I'm saying without being so specific? I can say it explicitly, but I don't think it's necessary. And I think saying it explicitly will cause more confusion than it would help. No, that's not kufr. Rebuilding a mirror, that's not kufr. Because you like something and you support something that you thought was beneficial to our people, even if it came from a non-Muslim, that's not kufr. If you believe that what they said of kufr is right, that's kufr. It's two different things. If a non-Muslim does something good and you believe it was good and you support that good, there's nothing wrong with it. The fact that they're a non-Muslim doesn't mean good is wrong. It's good. And you support good, not kufr. Do you understand the difference? Any questions what I'm saying? I think the point is clear, right? Don't worry about what they say. Who cares? Long as you know the rules of the religion, who cares? People say I'm Catholic. Who cares? That doesn't make a difference. What's the rule in the religion? The ruling religion says that I don't care what you say. Right? Now, if the rule of the religion says that this is kufr, then I need to be concerned. But if it's just your false interpretation, your politics, because I'm not in your group, as we say in the ghetto, man, miss me with that. Am I clear? I'm talking about what I'm talking about, the issue I'm making. I tell you what made me say this. I discovered something the other day. Two things made me say. Sheikh Yahya is moving to a book that's going to be controversial, right? When he starts teaching that book. But what's in the book is true. But the book comes from a group that people don't like. But the book is true. And it is religiously beneficial. Because people don't like the group, I'm not going to stop teaching truth. I don't particularly like the way the group move, but that has nothing to do with the truth. That's one reason why I mention it. So he's going to teach a book. That book is very beneficial. It just happened to come from a group that people don't like. Don't like them. Learn. I don't care if you don't like them. It's not my group. It's not my organization. And they don't run my life. But they have something beneficial that you could learn that doesn't exist as it exists there. That's good. Take it. And then move on. Leave their politics where it's at. Get the knowledge and go about your business. Do you understand my point? That's my approach. Right? Because we're not confined to somebody's group. We're just not, whether they like it or not. And someone said to me the other day, someone wanted to learn. And they said, oh, they belong to that group. I'm not going to teach them. I said, what kind of crap is that? They in that group, so I'm not messing with them. Huh? They want to learn. They want to benefit. What is that? Why don't you? They ask you to learn and benefit. Do it. It's beneficial. Just because they're not in your group or they in another group, you don't want to help them to do what is right. You didn't ask you to do nothing wrong. I don't agree with that stuff. Especially among Ahl Sunnah. I don't agree at all. All right, so I said that. Whoever doesn't get the indication, I can't help you. I think I'm very clear. Enough for you to understand what to do and how to act. Is it? Is it clear enough for you to understand and know how to act? This is my precondition before learning. So you know how to move. We good? Any questions before we close out? I had to do this. Trust me, I have to do it. And I hope this is sufficient that I don't have to be more explicit later. But I know these groups. I know how things move, and we not having it. I'm not in your group. Forget about it. I may like some things about your group. I may like some things about your group. I think they have beneficial things. I wish we weren't like this. Scholars are not like this, but common people in groups, that's how they are. We Islamic gangbangers. Like, just like trip. Scholars are not like that, right? But common people, they are very much like that. So for us, I'm not saying don't join no group. That's your business. But don't push your group on nobody else. You know, I mean, you can, but I would advise the one not to listen to you. You can push whatever you want, right? Boy, that flew right over my head. Imam Fahim, the carp is dismantled. The price of the brick just went up. No, because we need certain knowledge. And people be holding knowledge hostage. And we need it. So I just take it. Like, I don't care what you think. We need it. And you holding it hostage. Here, give me that. And then the group stuff, this group will put you against this group will put you against this group, and both groups have something you can benefit from, and you miss out and still be disenfranchised at the end of the day. No. All right, we good? We're clear? And I'm only saying this because it's my job to protect this platform. That's my job. We have a trust between each other, that I'm looking out for your good and you're looking out for mine. Right? So if I see something or I smell something that could possibly go left, I have to ensure that it doesn't. That's my job. To the best of my ability. I only can do what I can do. But I do warn us, be careful in joining groups and becoming fanatical about any group, any sheikh. Benefit, learn, love, have a clean heart. Don't go to extremes, right? Don't go to extremes. You can love your sheikh, mashallah. You can love your group, mashallah. But your sheikh's not the only sheikh, and your group's not the only group. That's all. If you have that approach, you understand Allah puts benefit everywhere, mashallah, it's good. As long as within the structures of the rules of the religion, you're good. That's it. But don't go to the other extreme. I don't follow no group. I ain't listening to nobody. I ain't talking no sheikhs. I don't know. I'm doing myself. No. That's not what is intended. No, giving bayat to a sheikh is not going to an extreme. In fact, it's recommended once you trust that person. What's going to extreme is because you took bayat to a sheikh, you look down on every other sheikh. That's going to an extreme. Because you took bayat to an imam, you look down on every other imam in every other community. That's going to an extreme. But if you find someone that you think fits what you need, and you want to have allegiance with that person and stick with that person, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it, and it may be strongly recommended for you. That's for you. That's for you. That doesn't mean it's for the next person. That's for you. Imam so-and-so or Sheikh so-and-so is right up your alley. As for the next person, that may, following your Imam or your Sheikh may be destruction for that person. Do you understand the point? That's it. I tell you, there is a Sheikh. Man, he's fascinating for writing. For me, I'm talking about. I love his works. If I learn from him, I won't learn anything if I listen to him. He cannot hold my attention for 5 minutes. I actually was studying with the Sheikh and fell asleep in his face, sitting right in front of him and fell asleep. I was so ashamed of myself, but he can't hold my attention. He can't. I tried multiple times. I can read him. I can read his works, but if I listen to him, if I watch him, I'm dead. I can't make it. So I have to go learn from someone else. He cannot guide me. It's not going to work. I tried multiple times. It don't work. Literally, he puts me to sleep. I don't care what he's talking about. I'm out. Now, there are other shuyukh, mashallah, and they're not as knowledgeable as him at all. Not even close. But they keep my attention. And I'll benefit from them what I cannot benefit from him, even though he's saying the same thing. You understand my point? So why I'm going to sit here and go to sleep when I can go here and learn the same thing and be awake just to follow him? I'm sleeping. I'm not learning. I'm asleep. I need to go to him and be awake. So some people would stay with someone who is ruining them just to be in the group. No, go to someone who's going to benefit you. The objective of the path is not the sheikh, it's to reach Allah. If that sheikh can't take you to Allah, it's fruitless. It doesn't work. The objective of the path is to reach ma'rifah. If that sheikh can't take you there, that sheikh is not helping you. So why are you following him? If you were the sheikh and you stay the same, then you've lost the whole purpose of having a sheikh. You still a mess. Talking about my sheikh. You a mess. What good is having a sheikh and you a mess? The sheikh's supposed to help you, not make you a mess or let you remain a mess. You get my point? This is a big lesson for us all. Many people won't say these things. You know, not like this, like straight. One of my sheikhs, one of my teachers, he said to me, you know, some people, they don't like the way you talk. And I said, oh, I don't know what to tell you, sheikh. He said, I told them you are a good person, but I said, I don't know what to tell you, man. I've been around a long time, man. I'm not going for the okie doke. I've been around too long. I've been around a long time. I've been all over the world. I'm not going for the okie doke. It's not happening. I'm not impressed. I've seen some impressive people, and most of us ain't it. I've seen some real impressive people. Knowledgeable, pious, call it what you want. I am not impressed at all. The word sheikh to me has a whole different meaning than to a lot of others. Sheikh, that word is, I laugh sometimes when you shake. Okay, whatever, right? Whatever. That's what you think a sheikh is? Okay. May Allah help you. May Allah help you. That's a sheikh to you? Okay. You know, Imam Fahim, I'll share one with you. It's Saturday. I got a class. I'm bugging. I'm supposed to go somewhere else. Let me share something. Imam Fahim knows this, right? Imam Fahim, you still there? My Camden homie? I'm going to tell some back in the day war stories. Imam Fahim, no hide. You know I'm coming. Where you at? Right? So when we was kids, because me and Imam Fahim is the real, we from around the same age. So when we were kids, even, I don't think it's now, we don't, unfortunately, Camden's at a whole nother level. So Atlantic City don't even come in the subject when we're talking about sports, especially basketball. Camden is at a whole nother level. I surrender. It wasn't always like that though, right? But now I surrender. Camden is, they might not have a lot of other stuff. They play that basketball, right? I gotta give them that. But there was, Atlantic City and Camden used to be a rivalry, right? Back in the day, especially in our days when we were young. So one thing you could always count on at a Camden Atlantic City game, there's going to be violence, and Camden's going to blow Atlantic City out. Right? These are two things you can usually count on, right? So we was like, nah, we blowing them out. And we went to Camden, and most of the team was scared. I figured out Camden. They would just intimidate you. They wasn't really that good, but they would intimidate you, right? So we went to Camden, and we did the, encouragement. Whatever happened, happens. Let's do it. Most of the people on the team were scared. Some of us project dudes weren't scared. Like, you know what? Whatever. We going out there and we giving it to them. And we beat the brakes off Camden. Right? Beat the brakes off of them. Right? And after the game, they did what they normally do. Start a fight, swinging those belt buckles with the name. You don't remember in the hip hop days, you have them big belt buckles with your name in it and big dice and all that crap. They come on, they rush the floor, swinging them belts with the buckles, flat the tires on the bus, bust out all the windows. And at the end of the day, we like, hey, we handed y'all. That's it. You do all you want to do with that. Y'all just got it. When you start to realize that people are not like, what's the story, Imam? I mean, sometimes people ain't all that they seem to be when you stand up to them, right? That bully stuff in the dean, nah, stand up. You ain't my boss. Get out of here. I ain't food. See you. Right? Because most of the people who's playing sheikhs are not sheikhs at all. Most of the people taking bayah and taking your money and bossing you around are not even real sheikhs. But you don't know. They're popular. They have a bunch of ignorant murid, and you accept. They're not really sheikhs at all, in no sense of the meaning. But we don't know, so we just kiss. That doesn't mean it's not real sheikhs. but they not it. And then next thing you know, sheikh abuse, spiritual abuse. No, he wasn't a sheikh in the first place. You was just deluded. It was a swindler. You just didn't know it because you didn't learn your religion. So you didn't recognize that, hey, this guy's a swindler. You never saw a real sheikh, so you thought he was a sheikh. Right? It's the same thing. I'll tell you a prison story related. We're telling stories. You know, in the feds, you run into all kinds of people, like gangsters, bunch of gangsters, right? And so from all over the world, gangsters, like, you know, the stuff you read, watch on Feds magazine and the mob stories, you're around all these people, especially in the penitentiary, right? And you quickly realize if you don't got your gun and your boys, you're not really that tough. In fact, you're a coward. You learn that quickly. Without your gun and your boys, you a coward. And here, you don't got no gun and you don't got your boys. Now check in, right? I've seen it over and over again. You ain't really like that. But in the streets, go watch that TV, you might think you the baddest thing that the earth ever seen. But in reality, you soft as cotton. That's how fake sheikhs are. Same concept, right? Same stuff. I remember a mob boss. I won't mention his name. I think he died by now, and I'm not going to speak bad about the dead. But he was a mob boss. And this guy got murders all over the country. He came into prison, and brothers from a certain area, they was pressing them Italian mob boys. Pressing them. Run that. I'm the imam. The mob boss comes to me. He's like, please, whatever you want, get them off my back. I'm saying to myself, I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, this guy got life in prison, one of the most notorious mob bosses, and you scared. You scared. Why are you scared? What happened to all that killer stuff you had in the streets? And the guys who's pressing them ain't even like that. The guys who's pressing you, they not even like that. But you not either. That's why they pressing you. Y'all get my crazy analogies? I'm sorry, I got a lot of experience. Do you get my crazy analogy though? That's how that sheikh is, who's not really a sheikh. He's like that mob boss or that gangster who's really not a gangster. If you get my point. Living around dangerous people will make you crazy. You know? Being around dangerous people will make you a little insane. Especially when you're forced, you have no choice. You got to live around these crazy people. Yeah, because the Muslim brothers were pressing them. They were wrong. And I stopped them, but they were pressing them. But that's prison. Run that. Not all Muslim brothers are pious, you know, right? Jokers is still gangsters in their mind, even in jail, still doing gangster stuff. I don't know why, Hak. You need to get yourself together. But it happens. It happens. Everybody ain't pious people, right? The same thing you see happening out here happens inside. No, they were wrong. It's haram. You can't be aggressive to people. Look, no, haram. We're not criminals. You can't do that. No, stop. For somebody to press you. How about that? Haram. Can't do it. You can't take people's property unjustly. We Muslims. Can't do that. Even non-Muslims, it's haram. We're not a gang. We Muslim. And that's the rules of the religion, right? I'm just giving you the example. I'm messing with Imam Fahim. We having war stories. But you got the point, right? You got the point. So don't let nobody press you religiously. The person pressing you ain't even like that, and you letting them press you, telling you how to think, telling you how to move, telling you what to do, and you not even like that. So I guess I'm disrespectful, but that sheikh faking ain't disrespectful, right? He's faking, but he's not disrespectful because I tell him you faking, I'm disrespectful. Okay. Whatever. All right. As Sheikh Walid said, I diverted, but it was relevant. Okay, I love you all, inshallah. I hope what I said was of some benefit. But the real point, besides all those crazy stories that Fahim got me telling, Imam Fahim, Imam of the Boom Bap, whom I love with all my heart, I just want to get to that point. Sometimes we got to be real, right? Sometimes we get so spiritual, we forget to be real and deal with real life and real stuff. Delusion. You know what delusion is? Seeing false things as reality. That's delusion. Seeing false things as reality. Oh, when is the cookout? I'm sorry. Man, I'm supposed to put that up every week, right? Every day. Bango. There it is right there. So the cookout is the weekend of July 9th and 10th. So let me explain how this works. I'm sorry. There's the information. Because we're at the Eid time. So Arafah is going to be either the 9th or the 10th. Allahu A'lam, really, we got to wait to say the moon, right? I love my people, right? So it's either going to be July 9th or 10th. If the Eid falls on the 10th, the 9th, which will be a Saturday, we're going to fast, we're going to have all day lessons and iftar together, and then Sunday the 10th, we'll have the barbecue. If the Eid is on Monday, which means Arafah will be on Sunday, we'll have the barbecue on Saturday the 9th. So that's why it's a weekend, right? If you can stay, hopefully you stay all 3 days and we'll get everything done. We'll have our barbecue, we'll fast together on Arafah, iftar, lessons, and Eid for those who want to stay that long. So that's because of the Eid, that's why we're having it like that. Is that point clear for everyone? So what would be ideal if you make a 3-day weekend out of it? Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Then we can all do Eid together as a family and do everything we need, right? But if you got to only come for one day, then we won't really know to the first day of the month. So around the first or second, the first, because you're only talking about 10 days. So around the first of the second of July, the 1st of July, we'll know. Somewhere around there, 1st, 2nd July, we'll know the exact dates. Because we go by sighting the moon. We don't go by calculations. And I would recommend the hotel that I prefer would be the Hampton Inn in Absecon, New Jersey. That is a good hotel. And there are others, if you got money, Sheraton, but like make sure you get a good hotel. Do be careful with that. Or people using Airbnbs, that works too. All right, I'm sorry for taking up all your time. I just love you so much. MashaAllah. Barakallahu bikum. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala. Don't forget, Sheikh Waleed's class. Oh, tonight at 8 o'clock. If you came before and you know good hotels, share, because I don't know all the hotels. Like Sister Tayira said that Wyndham and Absecon was nice. If you had a good experience, because a lot of you've been here and you know good places, tell us. And if you know bad places, tell us that too, so we don't go there. And, inshallah, any way we can help, you can just go to info@mmacinc.org. If we can help you, we'll help. The information with whatever we can do to help. We hope to see all of you and we have a joyous time together. Barakallahu bikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.